Welcome to the morning show. I'm your host, Ramona Singh, and more updates from our Foreign Affairs Minister, Melanie Joly, who has said now the federal government will be putting up about $1 million for investigation when it comes to war crimes and more specifically sex crimes by Russian forces in Ukraine. If you recall earlier on, this is now day 91 of the invasion in Ukraine since the Russian forces have invaded and gone to war with Ukraine since February 24th. Well, essentially, if you recall a few months ago, the devastating scenes of when the Russian forces had decided to leave Kyiv, which was their target to essentially take over the capital, as that they thought it was something that would have been accomplished in a shorter period of time. And after weeks of fighting with the Ukrainian forces, they decided to reroute their efforts into the eastern part of Ukraine and leaving Kyiv. Well, essentially, when they left Kyiv, they went into the township of Bucha, which is not far from the capital, and the massacre that occurred there, where people were shot at gunpoint with their hands tied behind their back and shot in the forehead, and there were bodies of women who were naked and burned to essentially to cover up the sex crimes that have occurred in Bucha, Ukraine. And this is something that happens in war, where women are raped and children are abused and killed. And so this is something that's happened, and now the federal government of Canada is saying that they're putting up funding to make sure that the investigation goes through for Russian troops in Ukraine. Essentially, the $1 million fund is towards that effort. This is wars are, aside from devastating communities and wreckage when it comes to infrastructure and killing people and separating families, there's a lot of violence when it comes to sexual violence against women. Now, as of the United Nations, they have said that so far there's 8 million people who have been displaced inside of Ukraine and 6 million who have fled Ukraine as refugees to neighboring countries. Majority of them, over 3 million, are in their neighboring country of Poland, and some have now arrived in Canada. So this funding is supposed to be able to go into the efforts of these war crimes, and so far there's 10 RCMP officers who are already involved in an investigation of war crimes in Ukraine, including sexual violence by the Russian troops. This is something that was discussed earlier in the month when it came to the Sweden's Foreign Affairs Minister and Anne Lind and Melanie Joly, the Canadian Foreign Affairs Minister, on this issue that we've been seeing, and there seems to be no end to the violence that has now gone on for about 3 months. That's our latest update when it comes to what's going on there. And